Today, we're going deep. I mean, way, way deep inside your own cells to explore the trillions of tiny engines that are firing on all cylinders right now to power your every single move. We're talking about mitochondria.
So let's start with a wild thought. What if I told you that you, right now, are being powered by trillions of microscopic power plants humming away inside your body? It sounds like something out of science fiction, right? But it's not. It's the incredible reality happening inside nearly every one of your cells.
And these little power plants have a name, mitochondria. Now, you've probably heard them called the powerhouses of the cell, and honestly, it's the perfect description. Their entire job, their whole reason for being, is to take the fuel from the food you eat, your breakfast, your lunch, and convert it into a usable form of chemical energy. This energy, called ATP, powers literally everything, from you moving your muscles to your brain just thinking.
Okay, so to really understand how these things operate, we can't just stay on the surface. We need a tour of the facility. So let's take a look at the anatomy of one of these incredible energizers. Just think of a single mitochondrion like it's a super specialized factory. You've got an outer gate, a really strict security checkpoint, a massive assembly floor, and of course, a central control center running the whole show. Each part has a very specific job to do. So first up is the outer gate, what scientists call the outer membrane. It's a pretty relaxed entry point, you know? It's smooth, it's porous, and it basically allows all the small fuel molecules, like the sugars from your lunch, to pass right on through and get inside the facility. No questions asked. But once you're inside, things get way more exclusive. This is the security checkpoint, or the inner membrane. This is where the real action is controlled. It's much less permeable, and it is just absolutely packed with all the protein machinery that's going to do the heavy lifting of producing energy. And what's so cool is the actual structure of this inner membrane. It's folded into these really intricate patterns called crista. Now, this isn't just for looks. It's a brilliant piece of biological engineering. These folds are kind of like an accordion. They massively increase the surface area so you can cram way more of that energy-producing machinery into one tiny space. It's all about efficiency. And then at the very heart of it all, we find the control center, also known as the matrix. This inner fluid is just a bustling hub, filled with all these specialized enzymes and ribosomes. But here's where it gets really weird. The matrix contains its very own unique set of DNA, completely separate from the DNA that's in your cell's nucleus. So why on earth would they have their own DNA? Well, this leads us to a truly mind-blowing idea called the endosymbiotic theory. All the evidence points to the fact that mitochondria were once ancient, free-living bacteria that were just swallowed up by our ancient single-celled ancestors. But instead of being digested, they formed a partnership, a symbiosis, that has literally lasted for over 1 billion years. You're carrying the descendants of ancient bacteria inside you. All right, so now that we know the layout of the power plant, let's see how the assembly line actually works. I mean, how does a molecule from that sandwich you ate become the energy that lets you blink your eyes? The whole process can really be broken down into 3 main stages. It's pretty logical. First, you have to prep and break down the fuel. Second, you use that breakdown to build up a powerful gradient of potential energy. And then third, you cash in all that potential energy for the real prize, ATP. So, step 1, also known as the Krebs cycle, happens right inside that control center, the matrix. This is where the fuel from glucose gets systematically broken down. And as this is happening, 2 really important things occur. Carbon dioxide is released. Yep, that's the very same CO2 you're breathing out right now. And special molecules get loaded up with high-energy electrons, kind of like tiny rechargeable batteries.
Now, for step 2, those freshly charged up electron carriers, they head over to the assembly floor, that folded inner membrane we talked about. There, they drop off their electrons to a series of proteins called the electron transport chain. As the electrons jump from one protein to the next, the energy they release is used to pump protons into that tiny space between the 2 membranes, building up this massive pressure, just like water building up behind a dam.
And that pressure leads us to the final step, the big payoff. All those protons that were just pumped out desperately want to rush back in. And the only way they can do that is by going through this remarkable little molecular machine called ATP synthase. As the protons flow through, it spins like a literal turbine, and it's this spinning motion that generates absolutely incredible amounts of ATP. So just how much are we talking about?
Well, from just one single molecule of glucose that goes through this entire mitochondrial process, you get roughly 36 molecules of ATP. That is a staggering energy return on investment. And just to put that number into perspective, if your cells tried to get energy from that exact same glucose molecule without oxygen and without using mitochondria, they would only get a measly 2 ATP. That means the mitochondrial process is 18 times more efficient. This right here is the biological innovation that allowed for complex, high-energy life like us to even exist. So, we've toured the factory, we've watched the assembly line, but why does any of this microscopic chemistry really matter to you, sitting here right now? Let's connect the dots. Here's the most crucial takeaway of all. The health of your trillions of tiny power plants directly translates to your overall health. It's that simple. When your mitochondria are working well, you feel energetic, you have vitality, and your cells are efficient. But when they become dysfunctional, it can lead to everything from chronic fatigue to serious muscle and nerve issues, and we now know it's heavily linked to the entire aging process.
Just think about it for a second. That feeling of hitting your stride when you're on a run, that's your mitochondria ramping up ATP production in your muscles. That mental clarity you get when you're solving a tough problem, that's ATP fueling your neurons. Even the steady, reliable beat of your heart, second after second, is powered by cells that are just jam-packed with these organelles. They are absolutely fundamental to everything you are and everything you do. And this all leaves us with a final, really fascinating question. We know that these tiny, ancient engines, these former bacteria that are living inside of us, are what power our present. So what could a deeper understanding of them unlock for the future of human health and maybe even longevity? Now that is something to think about.